All right, it's time for some SpaceX news. Take it away, Eli.
Welcome back to the Starman Report. I'm Eli Burton, your host, and let's dive into the latest news. NASA has now officially cut 2 astronauts from the Crew 9 mission in order to make room for the 2 Boeing Starliner astronauts. The SpaceX Crew 9 mission will now fly NASA astronaut and U.S. Space Force Commander Nick Hague and Roscosmos astronaut and mission specialist Alexander Gorbanov to the ISS. The original Crew 9 commander, Zena Cardman, and mission specialist Stephanie Wilson, a former space shuttle astronaut, will have to sit this mission out. Both of these astronauts are still eligible to be assigned future missions, although that is no guarantee. I really hope Cardman and Wilson both get the opportunity to be assigned to another mission. I'm sure they had a feeling that this was going to be the outcome, that a couple of their seats would be lost to return the crew that is currently on the ISS from the Boeing Starliner. But that said, that doesn't make it feel any better. You know, these women trained for years to prepare for this role, to prepare for this mission, and it's definitely a bummer for them to see that get pulled away due to something that's totally out of their control. But the reality is that's part of spaceflight, especially space test flights. They can be risky, they can be dangerous, things can go wrong. Crews get reassigned. If you guys saw the Apollo 13 movie, which accurately documented the Apollo 13 mission, one of the astronauts got pulled off because suspicion of measles. Anything can happen, but it's bummer to see when it's this kind of result. Next up, Catherine Lueders, the general manager of Starbase, gave a keynote speech at a luncheon event hosted by the Brownsville Chamber of Commerce. The event was titled, Bridging Borders and Beyond, the Impact of U.S.-Mexico Relations and Space Exploration in the Rio Grande Valley. During the presentation, Catherine said, and I quote, "We are actually in the process right now of really beginning another round of ramp-ups because we're bringing another 300 engineers and technicians to the Rio Grande Valley to help us with increasing our cadence for the missions that we have coming up." This is a good sign that SpaceX is confident in the progress of Starship development because they're bringing 300 people down to the region to get ready for a faster future launch cadence. In addition to this announcement about the additional personnel, sparks have been seen flying for most of the past week off the launch tower at Starbase. This week, SpaceX has been making modifications to the launch pad and able to attempt the first catch of the Starship's Super Heavy booster. It is unknown exactly when SpaceX will complete the upgrades to the launch tower to make this catch attempt, or when the FAA will give final approval and an approval date for Flight Test 5, but nonetheless, it's very clear that SpaceX is working as quickly as possible to get ready for this flight test. Well, guys, that's all for this time. Thank you so much for watching this week's episode of the Starman Report, and I look forward to having you back for more of the most exciting news in space.
Thanks, Eli. And for some more SpaceX news here, to play it safe, on Monday, August 26th, SpaceX postponed the Polaris Dawn mission to investigate a ground-side helium leak on the quick disconnect umbilical cord. But of course, the legacy media had to spin it.
SpaceX delays Polaris mission. Boeing isn't the only one with problems.
Elon responded, "We could have launched and it would have been fine, but safety is paramount, so better to check all systems again." Yeah, Boeing. Now, it looks like good landing zone weather is what we're waiting for, according to Jared Isaacsman's update last Friday. Because they're only going up for 2 days and they can't really delay in coming back down, they have to make sure that the weather looks good in the landing zones before they launch. So that's what the delay is all about. Elon posted this, "Let's make Starfleet Academy real."
And Empress Heavy says, "Sounds like a fun program to train people for making life multiplanetary."
And Elon said, "Pretty much."
So this is like space camp, but on steroids.
Elon went on to say, after thinking it through, SpaceX Starlink will provide emergency services access for mobile phones for people in distress for free. This applies worldwide, subject to approval by country governments. Can't have a situation where someone dies because they forgot or were unable to pay for it. Well, that's really nice.
That is really nice.
Starlink then posted that Starlink is now available in Botswana and Ghana. Starlink is connecting people with high-speed internet in 105 markets all around the world, including 15 in Africa.
And Elon said Starlink now approved in 105 countries.
Sawyer then posted this news. NASA just announced that its Mobile Launcher 2 project will now cost $2.7 billion, up from an original original estimate of $383 million. NASA says this project is key to the Artemis campaign, which seeks to return astronauts to the moon and send crewed missions to Mars.
Holy smokes!
Okay, now wait, we're looking at this picture here, and you might say, $2.7 billion for that big old rocket. No.
As Ashley Vance points out, NASA is going to need $2.7 billion for another SLS rocket. Oh, wait, sorry, just for the thing to move and hold the rocket. GAO per usual with the gory details.
And Mike Clemens says, how in the world can the launcher be more expensive than the rocket? So,
Elon's like,
so it's basically a big truck that moves
with some steel.
Yeah, and it's big. It's going to cost a lot of money, but is it going to cost $2.7 billion?
Well, it is going to cost more. Prices have gone up. Have you heard of inflation? Come on, NASA, pay up.
And then after 262 perfect landings for the first time in more than 3 years, a Falcon 9 booster toppled over on last Wednesday's attempted landing on a shortfall of gravitas. Eric Berger here making a pun.
A shortfall of stability.
Elon says, now we figure out what went wrong to drive the landing failure rate far above 1 in 1,000, then 1 in 10,000, 1 in a million, etc.
And it looks like Elon and Stephen King are back to trading barbs. Stephen King said, oops, SpaceX launches are on hold after a booster rocket toppled over in flames while landing Wednesday.
And Elon said, dick. And after the failed landing on August 28th, the FAA opened an investigation, but by Friday, August 30th, the FAA had granted SpaceX the approval to continue Falcon 9 launches because it wasn't a big deal. But what was a big deal is that the Texas Commission on Environmental Quality has fined SpaceX $3,750. Where are they going to come up with that money? For an unauthorized discharge of industrial wastewater into surrounding wetlands. It is not clear yet what this means for FAA approval of an increased launch cadence from South Texas.
And Elon said, just to be clear, this silly fine was for spilling potable drinking water. Literally, you could drink it.
And ag machinery giant John Deere has partnered with Starlink on a pilot program to use Starlink on its machines in remote areas to connect to their farm management systems in the U.S. and Brazil.
They're providing a kit that makes Starlink even more rugged. Starlink can not only transmit field data and logistics tracking data, but also, as John Deere's senior product manager of connectivity, Michael Kuhl, says, if you're in the state of Mato Grosso, which is the largest producing state in Brazil, a dealer could be 7 hours away from that machine and quickly remote display into the machine. This allows dealers to troubleshoot the issue they're having to get them back up and running without a visit or any downtime. It's impactful.
That's pretty cool. Hey everybody, thanks so much for watching Now You Know Clips.
You can watch full episodes of Tesla Time News on Tuesdays and in-depths on Fridays. Just click the link down below and head over to the Now You Know channel.